Someone is afraid about you. What they found on December. Don't scroll, listen to this, because this message is for you and your heart needs this right now, and the reason your chest feels a little tight as you read this is because something deep inside you already knows this is true, and listen carefully. Someone has been watching you quietly, not in an obvious way, not openly, but energetically, spiritually, emotionally, and December revealed something about you that they were never prepared to see. Don't scroll, because what they discovered shifted the way they look at you forever. And listen to this, it wasn't gossip, it wasn't rumors, it wasn't something someone told them, it was something they felt when they realized you didn't break the way they expected you to. Your heart needs this right now because you've been questioning yourself lately, wondering if the quiet growth even mattered, wondering if anyone noticed how much you've changed. And listen, they noticed. They noticed the calm in you, the way you stopped reacting, the way your energy softened but became stronger at the same time. And don't scroll, because December was a turning point, a spiritual checkpoint where the universe stripped illusions away, and what they found was that you are no longer accessible in the ways you used to be. Listen to this, your vibration shifted, and it scared them, because people who benefit from the old version of you don't know how to handle the healed one. Your heart needs this right now because you didn't become cold, you became clear. And clarity is intimidating to those who thrived in confusion. Don't scroll, because December showed them that you are protected, divinely guided, and no longer easily influenced. And listen carefully, signs started appearing around you then, even if you didn't fully understand them at the time. Angel numbers like 111 when you doubted yourself, 222 when you questioned relationships, 444 when you felt tired but kept going, and your heart needs this right now because those were confirmations, not coincidences. And don't scroll, because while you were healing quietly, someone else was realizing they could no longer reach you the same way. Listen to this, they felt it when conversations didn't land, when their words didn't move you, when their absence didn't break you. And that's when fear set in, not fear of you, but fear of losing control. Your heart needs this right now because you didn't announce your transformation, you embodied it, and embodiment is powerful. Don't scroll, because December also awakened something soulmate-related around you, a shift in what you're available for emotionally, spiritually, energetically. And listen carefully. You stopped craving intensity without peace, you stopped romanticizing inconsistency, you stopped chasing what didn't choose you back. And your heart needs this right now because someone saw that and realized they no longer had access to your heart the way they once did. Don't scroll, because that realization shook them. And listen to this, they found out that you are no longer operating from wounds, you're operating from wisdom. And wisdom doesn't argue, it observes. Your heart needs this right now because you may have felt moments of loneliness in December, moments where it felt like everything slowed down. But listen, that wasn't emptiness, that was space being created. And don't scroll, because space is where destiny moves in. Listen carefully, the universe was clearing your field, removing distractions, attachments, and outdated dynamics so something aligned could recognize you. And your heart needs this right now because someone sensed that you were stepping into a chapter they could not follow you into. Don't scroll, because that's where the fear comes from. Listen to this, they realized you no longer needed their approval, their validation, their attention. And when someone loses importance in your life without a fight, it exposes everything. Your heart needs this right now because you didn't become arrogant, you became anchored, and anchored people don't get pulled into chaos. Don't scroll, because December revealed your strength in silence, your ability to walk away without drama, to hold boundaries without guilt, to trust yourself without explanation. Listen to this. That scared them because they saw your future opening in ways they couldn't access. Your heart needs this right now because destiny doesn't announce itself loudly, it whispers to those who are ready. And don't scroll, because you're ready. Listen carefully. The fear they feel is confirmation that you've outgrown the role they assigned you, and December was the moment they realized you were no longer small, no longer unsure, no longer waiting, and your heart needs this right now because something bigger is aligning, and the universe is reminding you to stay grounded, stay observant, stay calm. Don't rush to explain yourself. Don't rush to prove anything, because what they found in December wasn't just your growth, it was your independence from needing to be understood. And don't scroll, because that's rare. Listen to this. The story isn't finished yet. December was only the reveal. What comes next is the unfolding, and the reason your spirit feels alert right now is because this message is preparing you for the next sign, the next confirmation, the next moment where everything clicks. And don't scroll, because what they fear is exactly what the universe is about to expand. Don't scroll, listen to this, because your heart needs this right now, and what I'm about to say connects directly to what was revealed before, because once someone realizes you can't be reached the same way, the fear doesn't disappear, it deepens. And listen carefully. After December, they started replaying moments with you in their mind, conversations they didn't take seriously, boundaries they thought were temporary, silence they assumed you'd break. And don't scroll, because the shock came when they realized you weren't coming back to the old version of yourself. This message is for you because you may not even know how powerful that realization was for them. And listen to this. Fear doesn't always look like anger or jealousy. Sometimes it looks like regret, obsession, restlessness, wondering why your energy feels further away even when you're physically present in the same world. And your heart needs this right now because while you were choosing peace, someone else was realizing they lost influence. Don't scroll, because influence loss feels like losing ground. And listen carefully. They noticed the way your intuition sharpened, the way you stopped oversharing, the way you trusted your inner voice without asking for reassurance, and that scared them, because people who rely on your doubt don't know how to interact with your certainty. Your heart needs this right now because certainty isn't loud, it's calm. And calm energy disrupts manipulative patterns. Don't scroll, because December also activated a spiritual awakening in you that you might still be integrating. Listen to this. You became more selective with your time, more protective of your energy, more aware of who drains you and who restores you. And your heart needs this right now because awareness is the doorway to alignment, and alignment makes old connections uncomfortable. Don't scroll, because they started feeling that discomfort. And listen carefully. Signs began to show up for you as confirmations, numbers repeating at the exact moments you questioned your path, dreams that felt more vivid than usual, sudden clarity after long confusion. And your heart needs this right now because those were messages from the universe telling you to keep going. Don't scroll, because while you were being guided forward, someone else was realizing they couldn't follow without changing themselves. And listen to this. That's where fear turns into distance, avoidance, or strange behavior. Because growth in one person exposes stagnation in another. Your heart needs this right now because you didn't cause their fear, you triggered their awareness. And don't scroll, because awareness is uncomfortable when someone isn't ready to evolve. Listen carefully. They found out that you no longer react emotionally the way you used to, that your silence isn't punishment, it's peace, and that your absence doesn't come from bitterness. It comes from boundaries, and your heart needs this right now because boundaries are self-respect in action. Don't scroll, because December taught you self-respect in quiet ways. Listen to this. You stopped explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stopped chasing clarity from those who benefit from confusion. And your heart needs this right now because that shift changed everything. Don't scroll, because when someone can't provoke you anymore, they start questioning their power. And listen carefully, the fear they feel is also mixed with curiosity, wondering how you became so grounded, how you let go without collapsing, how you moved forward without closure, and your heart needs this right now because closure didn't come from them, it came from growth. Don't scroll, because growth doesn't wait for permission. Listen to this. Soulmate energy is also rearranging around you now, not in a dramatic rush, but in subtle preparation. Because the version of you emerging doesn't entertain misalignment, and your heart needs this right now because you're no longer attracted to potential without effort, or words without action. Don't scroll, because December reset your standards at a soul level. Listen carefully. Someone sensed that reset and realized they could no longer meet you where you are without doing deep inner work, and fear arises when someone knows they can't fake alignment anymore. Your heart needs this right now because authenticity exposes everything. Don't scroll, because authenticity attracts the right people and repels the wrong ones. Listen to this. The universe is also reminding you to stay observant, not paranoid, but aware, because not everyone who smiles at your growth is celebrating it, and your heart needs this right now because discernment protects your momentum. Don't scroll, because momentum is building quietly now. Listen carefully. You might feel a pull toward new routines, new goals, new environments. And that's not random, that's your future self calling you forward. Your heart needs this right now because the fear someone else feels is confirmation that you're stepping into a lane they can't follow. Don't scroll, because that lane was never meant for everyone. Listen to this. The universe is asking you to trust the stillness, to trust the slow unfolding, because what's aligning now requires stability, not rush, and your heart needs this right now because patience is power when you're aligned. Don't scroll, because December was only the beginning. What follows is clarity, separation, and elevation, and the reason this message feels heavy but comforting at the same time is because your soul recognizes truth when it hears it. And listen carefully. The fear they feel doesn't mean danger, it means distance. It means you've moved beyond a version of yourself they understood, and your heart needs this right now because moving beyond isn't betrayal, it's evolution. Don't scroll, because the next sign you receive will make this even clearer, and when it does, you'll understand why December changed everything. Don't scroll, listen to this. Because your heart needs this right now, and this message is for you, especially if you've been feeling a strange mix of peace and pressure lately, like something big is forming just beneath the surface. And listen carefully. After December, the fear they felt didn't fade, it evolved, because once someone realizes they can't access you the same way, they begin watching from a distance, trying to understand how you changed without announcing it. And don't scroll, because this is where the story deepens. This message is for you because while you were focused on healing, resting, realigning, someone else was quietly realizing that you slipped beyond their reach. And listen to this. They noticed your energy stopped chasing, stopped explaining, stopped proving, and your heart needs this right now because that shift wasn't accidental. It was spiritual maturity settling into your bones. Don't scroll, because maturity doesn't argue, it observes. And listen carefully. The universe began teaching you discernment in ways you didn't even label as spiritual at the time. You just felt less reactive, less emotional, less pulled into drama, and your heart needs this right now because peace can feel unfamiliar when you've lived in survival mode for too long. Don't scroll, because someone saw that unfamiliar calm in you and it unsettled them. Listen to this. They expected you to stay available, emotionally open, easily influenced, but December changed that, and your heart needs this right now because December wasn't just a month, it was a reset point, a spiritual line you crossed without fully realizing it. Don't scroll, because crossing that line altered how people perceive you. Listen carefully. You may have felt guided to pull back, to spend more time alone, to rethink certain relationships, to stop reaching out first, and your heart needs this right now because those nudges weren't random. They were divine protection activating. Don't scroll, because protection always looks like distance before it looks like blessing. Listen to this. Someone realized that you no longer respond from emotion, you respond from clarity, and clarity is dangerous to people who rely on confusion to stay relevant in your life. Your heart needs this right now because you didn't become cold, you became selective. Don't scroll, because selectivity is self-respect. Listen carefully. The universe also began revealing truth through subtle signs around you, repeating numbers when you questioned your worth, sudden insights that answered prayers you didn't speak out loud, and your heart needs this right now because those signs were affirming your growth, not warning you of loss. Don't scroll, because while you were receiving confirmation, someone else was experiencing exposure. Listen to this. Exposure doesn't always mean public, sometimes it's internal. When someone realizes they underestimated you, overlooked you, or assumed you'd always stay the same, and your heart needs this right now because being underestimated was part of your protection. Don't scroll, because it allowed you to grow without interference. Listen carefully. Soulmate energy is also rearranging now, and this is important, because the version of you emerging doesn't connect to chaos the same way. You crave depth without instability, love without anxiety, connection without confusion. And your heart needs this right now because that craving is alignment, not loneliness. Don't scroll, because alignment often arrives quietly. Listen to this. Someone sensed that your standards shifted, that you no longer entertain inconsistency, mixed signals, or half-effort, and that realization triggered fear, because they knew they couldn't meet you where you are without changing themselves. Your heart needs this right now because it's not your job to shrink so others feel comfortable. Don't scroll, because shrinking delays destiny. Listen carefully. The universe is also asking you to trust your intuition more than ever now, because your intuition has been sharpened through experience, disappointment, and growth, and your heart needs this right now because intuition is the language of alignment. Don't scroll, because ignoring it leads back to cycles you've already completed. Listen to this. You may notice people reacting differently to you now, some becoming distant, some suddenly curious, some quiet, some awkward, and your heart needs this right now. Because not everyone can adjust to your new frequency. Don't scroll, because frequency shifts naturally separate people. Listen carefully. The fear they feel isn't about harm, it's about loss, loss of access, loss of influence, loss of the version of you they understood, and your heart needs this right now because loss makes people uncomfortable. Don't scroll, because discomfort reveals truth. Listen to this. The universe is reminding you not to explain your growth to those who aren't meant to walk with you forward. Silence is not avoidance, it's wisdom, and your heart needs this right now because wisdom conserves energy. Don't scroll, because energy is what's being redirected now. Listen carefully. You're being guided toward spaces, conversations, and opportunities that match your evolution, not your past, and your heart needs this right now because the future doesn't require you to revisit old versions of yourself. Don't scroll, because December marked the end of a cycle that quietly completed. listen to this, what comes next is not rushed, not chaotic, but intentional, and your heart needs this right now because intention builds stability. Don't scroll, because stability attracts what's meant for you. Listen carefully. The fear they feel is confirmation that you've stepped into a version of yourself that no longer seeks validation, and that is powerful. Your heart needs this right now because power doesn't announce itself, it settles in. Don't scroll, because the next realization you have will bring even more clarity, and when it does, you'll understand why the universe moved the way it did, and why December was only the beginning of something much bigger unfolding now. Don't scroll, listen to this, because your heart needs this right now, and this message is for you at this exact moment, especially if you've been sensing a quiet shift in how people respond to you, because after December, something subtle but undeniable settled into your energy, and listen carefully, the fear they feel now is tied to realization, not imagination. Because realization arrives when patterns break and expectations fail, and don't scroll, because this is where the truth sharpens. This message is for you because while you kept choosing calm over chaos, someone else was noticing that their usual influence no longer worked, and listen to this, they tried to read you the way they always had, but the signals changed, your reaction softened, your words became measured, your silence carried weight, and your heart needs this right now because that's what inner authority looks like when it arrives quietly. Don't scroll, because authority doesn't demand attention, it commands. Respect without asking. Listen carefully. December revealed that you no longer seek permission to be yourself, and that shift unsettles people who relied on your uncertainty, your openness, your availability, your emotional transparency. Your heart needs this right now because transparency without boundaries drains the soul. And don't scroll, because you learn to protect your soul without closing your heart. Listen to this. You became discerning, not distant, selective, not cold, and that distinction matters, because discernment is a sign of spiritual maturity. Your heart needs this right now because maturity often feels lonely before it feels peaceful. Don't scroll, because peace is what's settling in now. Listen carefully. The universe also began rerouting conversations away from you, dissolving connections that no longer fit, and your heart needs this right now because endings don't always come with conflict. Sometimes they come with clarity. Don't scroll, because clarity ends cycles cleanly. Listen to this. The fear they feel now is mixed with curiosity, wondering how you managed to step out of old dynamics without burning bridges, and your heart needs this right now because you chose growth without resentment. Don't scroll, because resentment ties you to the past. Listen carefully. You may have noticed that after December, your intuition became louder, quicker, more precise. You sensed things before they happened, felt shifts before words were spoken, and your heart needs this right now because intuition sharpens when you trust yourself. Don't scroll, because trust in self changes everything. Listen to this. Signs continued appearing around you, repeating numbers at meaningful moments, songs playing at the exact time you thought of certain people, memories resurfacing not to hurt you, but to show you how far you've come, and your heart needs this right now because reflection brings perspective. Don't scroll, because perspective dissolves fear. Listen carefully. Soulmate energy is also aligning in a new way now, not rushing toward you, but syncing with your pace, because the love meant for you won't demand that you abandon yourself, and your heart needs this right now because healthy connection feels safe, not confusing. Don't scroll, because confusion was never love. Listen to this. Someone sensed that you are no longer available for emotional games, for half-truths, for inconsistent presence, and that realization created distance, because distance is what happens when alignment is lost. Your heart needs this right now because alignment is non-negotiable now. Don't scroll, because non-negotiable standards protect your future. Listen carefully. The universe is also asking you to stay grounded as attention subtly shifts toward you, not to perform, not to prove, but to remain rooted, because grounded energy attracts lasting opportunities. And your heart needs this right now because flashy moments fade, stability remains. Don't scroll, because stability is being built now. Listen to this. You may feel moments of stillness that feel unfamiliar, like the noise quieted suddenly, and your heart needs this right now because stillness is where intuition speaks clearly. Don't scroll, because listening matters now more than reacting. Listen carefully. The fear they feel is also tied to timing, because they realize you moved on without waiting, without needing closure, without dragging the past into the future, and your heart needs this right now because closure doesn't always come from conversation. Sometimes it comes from acceptance. Don't scroll, because acceptance frees energy. Listen to this. The universe is protecting you from revisiting lessons you've already learned, even if nostalgia tries to pull you back. And your heart needs this right now because nostalgia isn't destiny. Don't scroll, because destiny pulls forward. Listen carefully. You're being guided to trust the pace of what's unfolding, because rushing would disrupt the balance you worked hard to create, and your heart needs this right now because balance sustains growth. Don't scroll, because growth without balance leads to burnout. Listen to this. The fear they feel isn't your responsibility, it's their invitation to reflect, to evolve, to catch up to a version of themselves they postponed becoming. And your heart needs this right now because you're not meant to carry others through transitions they must choose for themselves. Don't scroll, because release is part of alignment. Listen carefully. The universe is preparing you for the next confirmation, the next door opening, the next connection aligning naturally, and your heart needs this right now because patience is being rewarded. Don't scroll, because what's coming doesn't need chasing. It needs readiness. Listen to this. December showed you who you are becoming, and the fear they feel now confirms that you are no longer the person they once understood, and that is not loss, that is evolution. Don't scroll, because the next sign you receive will make this undeniable, and when it does, you'll feel calm, not surprised, because your soul has been preparing you all along. Don't scroll. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now, and this message is for you if you've been feeling an unexpected sense of detachment mixed with deep clarity, because what's unfolding now is the aftereffect of everything that shifted in December. And listen carefully. Once fear settles in someone's awareness, it doesn't stay quiet. It begins reshaping how they think about you, how they remember you, how they speak about you even when you're not around. And don't scroll, because this is where the energy turns inward. This message is for you because while you've been moving forward without announcement, someone else has been stuck replaying the past, trying to pinpoint the exact moment they lost access to the version of you they were comfortable with. And listen to this. They keep circling back to December, to something they noticed then, something subtle but undeniable. The way you stopped reaching out, the way you stopped explaining yourself, the way your energy stopped leaning toward them. And your heart needs this right now because that wasn't withdrawal, it was self-alignment. Don't scroll, because alignment always looks like distance to those who aren't aligned with you. Listen carefully. They sense that you no longer need external reassurance to trust your decisions, and that realization unsettled them, because people who rely on your doubt feel exposed by your confidence. Your heart needs this right now because confidence doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. Don't scroll, because quiet confidence shifts dynamics permanently. Listen to this. The universe has been reinforcing your growth through subtle confirmations, moments where things worked out without force, conversations that ended naturally without conflict, doors closing without resistance, and your heart needs this right now because ease is a sign of alignment. Don't scroll, because alignment reduces friction. Listen carefully, soulmate energy is also being refined. Now, not intensified in chaos, but clarified in intention, because the kind of connection meant for you won't leave you anxious, questioning, or second-guessing your worth, and your heart needs this right now because love that's meant for you will feel steady. Don't scroll, because steady doesn't mean boring, it means safe. Listen to this, someone realized you are no longer available for emotional turbulence, for being pulled into indecision, for carrying uncertainty that doesn't belong to you. And that realization made them uncomfortable, because comfort for some people comes from predictability, not growth. Your heart needs this right now because you chose growth. Don't scroll, because growth disrupts familiarity. Listen carefully, you may have noticed people reacting differently now, some becoming distant, some suddenly respectful, some awkwardly silent. And your heart needs this right now because reactions reveal where people stand energetically. Don't scroll, because energy doesn't lie. Listen to this, the universe is also encouraging you to maintain your boundaries without guilt, because boundaries aren't walls, they're filters, and your heart needs this right now because filters allow what's aligned to enter. Don't scroll, because alignment is selective by nature. Listen carefully, the fear someone feels around you now isn't about harm, it's about irrelevance. Realizing they no longer play the same role in your life, and your heart needs this right now because roles expire when growth occurs. Don't scroll, because expired roles cannot be revived. Listen to this, December exposed not just your strength, but your independence from validation, and independence shifts power dynamics instantly. Your heart needs this right now because independence is magnetic. Don't scroll, because magnetism attracts what resonates and repels what doesn't. Listen carefully. You're being guided to trust the quiet momentum building now, even if it doesn't feel dramatic. Because sustainable change rarely announces itself, and your heart needs this right now because sustainability protects your peace. Don't scroll, because peace is the foundation of what's coming next. Listen to this, you may feel moments where the past tries to resurface, memories, emotions, unfinished conversations, and your heart needs this right now because not every memory requires engagement. Don't scroll, because acknowledgement doesn't require action. Listen carefully, the universe is teaching you restraint, not suppression, knowing when to respond and when to remain still, and your heart needs this right now because stillness amplifies intuition. Don't scroll, because intuition is guiding you precisely now. Listen to this, angel numbers may be appearing again, subtle reminders that you're supported even when you're not seeking confirmation. And your heart needs this right now because support doesn't disappear when you stop asking. Don't scroll, because support is constant. Listen carefully, the fear someone feels is also tied to the unknown, because they can no longer predict your moves, your reactions, your availability, and unpredictability feels threatening to those who prefer control. Your heart needs this right now because you're not meant to be predictable. Don't scroll, because predictability keeps you boxed in. Listen to this. The universe is asking you to continue choosing yourself even when it feels unfamiliar, because familiarity doesn't equal safety. And your heart needs this right now because safety comes from self-trust. Don't scroll, because self-trust anchors you. Listen carefully, you may feel drawn to simplify your life now. Fewer explanations, fewer obligations, fewer emotional investments, and your heart needs this right now because simplicity clears mental space. Don't scroll, because clarity thrives in simplicity. Listen to this. The fear they feel is confirmation that you've stepped beyond their understanding, and that's not your burden to carry. Your heart needs this right now because you're not responsible for how others process your growth. Don't scroll, because responsibility ends where alignment begins. Listen carefully. The universe is preparing you for a moment of recognition, not necessarily public, but internal, where you realize you no longer seek approval from places that once mattered. And your heart needs this right now because that realization is freedom. Don't scroll, because freedom changes the trajectory of your life. Listen to this. What's unfolding now is quiet but powerful, and the fear others feel is simply the echo of your expansion. And as this chapter continues, you'll feel less need to look back, because forward will finally feel right. Don't scroll. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now, and this message is for you in this exact moment, because what's happening around you now is not random. It's the continuation of what was set in motion when you chose yourself without making noise about it. And listen carefully. The universe has been watching how you move in silence, how you stopped explaining, how you stopped chasing closure, and how you learned to sit with your own truth without needing anyone else to validate it. And don't scroll, because that shift changed more than you realize. This message is for you because someone can feel that you are no longer emotionally accessible in the way you used to be, and your heart needs this right now because accessibility is not the same as availability. Listen to this. You became selective with your energy, not cold, not distant, just intentional. And that intentionality made someone uneasy, because when you stop offering unlimited access, people are forced to confront their own intentions. Don't scroll, because that's where the awakening begins. Listen carefully. The universe has been rearranging situations behind the scenes, removing distractions that once felt important but were actually draining. And your heart needs this right now because subtraction is often protection. Don't scroll, because protection doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like boredom with what once excited you. Listen to this. The soulmate energy around you is stabilizing, not disappearing, and stability can feel unfamiliar if you're used to intensity being mistaken for connection. Your heart needs this right now because real alignment doesn't come with anxiety. Don't scroll, because anxiety is not intuition. Listen carefully. You may have noticed a calm settling into your decisions, a sense of knowing without urgency, and that's not detachment, that's clarity. And your heart needs this right now because clarity keeps you grounded when emotions try to pull you backward. Don't scroll, because backward movement is tempting when comfort is mistaken for safety. Listen to this. Someone who once relied on your responsiveness is now realizing they can't reach you the same way, and that realization stirred fear, not because you did anything wrong, but because they lost influence. And your heart needs this right now because influence without alignment is manipulation. Don't scroll, because manipulation loses power when awareness rises. Listen carefully. Angel numbers have been appearing not to promise something external, but to remind you that internal alignment is already happening, and your heart needs this right now because alignment precedes manifestation. Don't scroll, because manifestation without alignment doesn't last. Listen to this. The universe is asking you to stay present, not hypervigilant, not waiting for the other shoe to drop, but grounded in the moment you're in now. And your heart needs this right now because peace is not passive, it's active trust. Don't scroll, because trust stabilizes your nervous system. Listen carefully. You may feel less reactive lately, less inclined to respond immediately, and that's not avoidance, that's discernment. And your heart needs this right now because discernment protects your energy. Don't scroll, because energy is currency. Listen to this. Someone is realizing they underestimated your ability to move on internally even while remaining kind externally. And that contrast unsettled them, because kindness with boundaries cannot be controlled. Your heart needs this right now because boundaries are not punishments. Don't scroll, because boundaries are instructions. Listen carefully. The universe is guiding you to continue honoring your inner signals, even when they don't come with explanations, and your heart needs this right now because intuition speaks before logic catches up. Don't scroll, because logic often arrives late. Listen to this. The fear someone feels is also recognition that you've stepped into a version of yourself that doesn't negotiate self-respect, and that's not arrogance, that's maturity. And your heart needs this right now because maturity changes relationship dynamics permanently. Don't scroll, because permanent change requires acceptance. Listen carefully. You may feel moments of loneliness mixed with relief. And that's normal when you outgrow environments faster than new ones appear, and your heart needs this right now because transition spaces are sacred. Don't scroll, because sacred spaces require patience. Listen to this. The universe is not rushing you, it's grounding you, preparing you for connections that meet you where you are now, not where you were. And your heart needs this right now because meeting you where you are is the standard going forward. Don't scroll, because standards protect your future. Listen carefully. The soulmate energy meant for you will recognize your growth without trying to diminish it, and your heart needs this right now because real connection expands you. Don't scroll, because expansion feels calm. Listen to this. Someone's fear is their response to your expansion, not your responsibility to resolve, and your heart needs this right now because you are not meant to carry emotions that aren't yours. Don't scroll, because emotional ownership matters. Listen carefully. The universe is encouraging you to keep choosing clarity over chaos, even when chaos feels familiar, and your heart needs this right now because familiarity is not destiny. Don't scroll, because destiny feels steady. Listen to this. What's unfolding now is subtle but irreversible, and as you continue forward, you'll notice less resistance, fewer emotional triggers, and more internal confirmation, because the lesson has already been learned, and what comes next will build on this foundation. Don't scroll, listen to this, because your heart needs this right now, and this message is for you at the exact moment everything is settling into place, even if it doesn't look dramatic on the outside, because what's happening now is an internal arrival, a quiet knowing that you are no longer the person who doubts their worth, chases explanations, or waits to be chosen. And listen carefully. This is the phase where the universe seals the lesson, where the fear others felt about you no longer has power because you've moved beyond needing their reaction to confirm your growth. And don't scroll, because this is the part where the energy finally turns fully in your favor. This message is for you because you've been consistent in choosing peace even when it felt lonely, choosing truth even when it felt uncomfortable, choosing alignment even when it required letting go of versions of life that once felt familiar. And your heart needs this right now because consistency compounds into confidence. Don't scroll, because confidence is quiet but undeniable. Listen to this. The universe has been observing how you no longer argue with reality, how you accept endings without forcing explanations, how you release people without resentment, and that level of emotional maturity shifts timelines. Your heart needs this right now because timeline shifts don't announce themselves. Don't scroll, because they reveal themselves through ease. Listen carefully. The fear someone once felt around you begins to dissolve now, not because they understand you, but because you are no longer emotionally available for their projections. And your heart needs this right now because emotional availability is a choice. Don't scroll, because choice restores your power. Listen to this. soulmate energy is no longer circling in confusion, it's aligning in clarity. Because the connection meant for you will meet you in the version of yourself that no longer negotiates self-respect, and your heart needs this right now because love that's aligned does not compete with your peace. Don't scroll, because peace is the requirement now. Listen carefully. You may notice that you're less curious about who's watching you, who's thinking about you, who regrets what, and that's not indifference, that's completion. And your heart needs this right now because completion frees mental space. Don't scroll, because mental space invites creativity. Listen to this. The universe is encouraging you to stay present, not waiting for the next sign, not decoding every interaction, but trusting that what's meant to find you will do so without effort. And your heart needs this right now because effortlessness is alignment. Don't scroll, because alignment doesn't chase. Listen carefully. Angel numbers may still appear, but now they feel reassuring instead of urgent, because you've internalized the message. And your heart needs this right now because reassurance replaces anxiety when lessons integrate. Don't scroll, because integration is transformation. Listen to this. The version of you that once wondered if you were too much or not enough has quietly stepped aside, replaced by a steadier presence that trusts itself. And your heart needs this right now because self-trust is magnetic. Don't scroll, because magnetism doesn't force attraction. Listen carefully. The universe is preparing you for connections that feel familiar in a calming way, not intense in a destabilizing way. And your heart needs this right now because calm familiarity is what home feels like. Don't scroll, because home is the goal. Listen to this. The past no longer has leverage over you because you've processed it without clinging to it. And your heart needs this right now because processing doesn't mean revisiting. Don't scroll, because revisiting keeps you anchored backward. Listen carefully. You may feel moments of gratitude mixed with grief for who you used to be, and that's normal when growth occurs. And your heart needs this right now because growth honors the past without living in it. Don't scroll, because honoring doesn't require attachment. Listen to this. The universe is asking you to continue moving with intention, not urgency, because urgency was never yours to carry. And your heart needs this right now because intention sustains momentum. Don't scroll, because momentum builds futures. Listen carefully. The soulmate connection meant for you will recognize the calm in your voice, the steadiness in your decisions, the clarity in your boundaries, and that recognition will feel mutual, not performative. And your heart needs this right now because mutuality replaces chasing. Don't scroll, because chasing exhausts the spirit. Listen to this. Someone's fear about you has now transformed into distance, and that distance is not loss, it's alignment, because not everyone is meant to walk into the next chapter with you. And your heart needs this right now because selectivity is protection. Don't scroll, because protection preserves your energy. Listen carefully. The universe is closing this chapter gently, without drama, without confrontation, because closure doesn't always require conversation. And your heart needs this right now because internal closure is the most powerful kind. Don't scroll, because power doesn't shout. Listen to this. As you move forward, you'll feel less need to explain your choices, because your life will begin to reflect them clearly. And your heart needs this right now because embodiment speaks louder than words. Don't scroll, because embodiment is the evidence. Listen carefully. What comes next will feel natural, aligned, and surprisingly simple, because you've done the internal work, and now the external world is catching up. And your heart needs this right now because you are ready for what's ready for you. And this chapter ends not with fear, but with calm certainty that you are exactly where you're meant to be.